Hello and welcome to Radically Aligned. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. My name's Vicky Chisholm. I'm going to be your host. We're going to be exploring all things alignment in business and in your soul. We're going to be bringing together some amazing episodes to help you cultivate the alignment that works for you so you can have soul-aligned business success. But more importantly, we're also going to be bringing in guests for interviews so you can learn not just from me, but from experts all over the world. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello. Oh my gosh. Today I'm so excited to invite you to this podcast episode because we have got the amazing Maddie Grout from Invisible to Influential joining us. And if you don't know Maddie, you certainly will do by the end of this podcast. She is an amazing TikToker. She is a massive advocate for those with ADHD, autism and neurodivergence. So hey, she ticks a lot of boxes in my world. But more importantly, she's just the most amazing, heart-centered person. And she actually gives a shit, which for me is quite nice to see because a lot of people don't. Anyway, I am going to share the spotlight a little bit with Maddie here. Maddie, tell us a little bit more about you. I've only done a very brief introduction here.
You did really well though. I love that actually. That was one of the best podcast introductions I think I've ever had. So hey everybody, I'm Maddie Grout. I am a multi-potentialite, which essentially means that I do all of the things. But I do it all under my personal brand. So everything that I do in my business has to be aligned with my mission, my vision, and my values. And there is no other way of doing it. That is the way or the highway. So when I'm talking about any of my businesses, they all have to align with each other, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to be on this podcast, because I know that me and Vicky have exactly the same views on this. So I am a TikTok content creator. I actually do own the term influencer. Everyone hates it, but I feel like everybody needs to be an influencer in their own niche. We all have to be influential because otherwise we're not the expert, we're not the go-to person. So we all have to be that. I am an ADHD business coach. I am a money specialist. I'm a neurodiversity in the workplace coach, speaker, 2 times author. What have I missed out? Community manager, course creator, affiliate marketer, not network marketer, affiliate marketer. I only work with products and services of the people that I really love in my world, and I know where I can add some value to my audience. So that's me in a nutshell.
Amazing. Yeah, so I love this about you, Maddie, because you're kind of a woman after my own heart, right? I can't do just like one thing. I get so freaking bored.
Yeah.
So I'm like an ideas generating machine. I don't run with every idea because if I did, I'd probably be under a bus somewhere rocketing, like hide me from the world. But I don't like doing just one thing. I've always needed a job with variety. So
Yeah.
when I was younger, I was in social care. Believe me, no 2 days were ever the same. You know, you have kids, no 2 days are ever the same. You
Ooh.
always have variety. Have a dog, no 2 days are ever the same. You know, so when it comes to like career and passion and doing things that you love, being able to do different things and still share the same passion with them, I think is quite a gift that we need in this world, isn't it?
I think so. For me, everything has to be authentic. And if it doesn't feel like it's authentic, then it's not aligned, and I just don't do it. The annoying thing is that I am somebody who follows pretty much every idea that they ever have. So when people give me more ideas, I'm like, no, no, shh. But that is one of the reasons why I became a business coach, because I feel like my brain is an ideas factory.
Mhm.
So if I'm working with other people to help them with their ideas, then I'm not focused as much on my own. I still get the creativity, like the creative outlet, but I don't have to follow up on every business idea that I have. So an example of my impulsivity, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the press. They branded me a sickfluencer, which is essentially a disabled or disability influencer who is trying to persuade the world that they are disabled, which is, for anybody who knows me, not what I do. I help people to understand their brains if they are already neurodivergent, which is something which the world definitely needs. This massive sickfluencer campaign, they actually accused me of helping people to fuck the system essentially by applying for benefits that they're not entitled to. So I hit back and I created a t-shirt which had the word Sickfluencer across the front of it, crossed out, and then disability champion underneath it, which then prompted me to launch an entire range of t-shirts 3 days after I was in the press. This one is one of them. Chuck it in the fuck it bucket.
That's enough.
That is my version of the let them theory.
Yeah, that's the one. Totally. Yeah. And I love
But
that. So I used to do that. I used to run with every idea and I would get so hyper focused in it
yeah,
that I would just completely cancel a whole weekend because I had to get this idea and run with it.
yeah,
But as time's gone on, I've managed to, I suppose, reorganize and structure my brain a little bit more with priorities, as in, is that going to move the needle for me, or is this a really beautiful, shiny distraction? And sometimes we do need to rein it in, but other times when you're running with those ideas and they just happen, don't they? It's like magic just comes out of the sky and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm building something behind the scenes at the moment, which I'm really, really, really excited about. And I haven't seen it done yet, especially in my field as a psychic energy worker. So this is going to be really, really exciting when it comes out. But I'm running with this idea and it's got a very different energy to it because I'm not running it as in that hyped up energy of, oh my God, I've got to get this done. I'm
yeah,
running it in I'm going to be really playful and curious for this and see where it takes me. It could be a complete flop, but actually it could also be the game changer for intuitive businesses. So
yeah.
ideas, when they get going, it's just like, oh. But Maddie, I love your t-shirts. I love what you're doing with them. And I love the fact that
Thank
you're
you.
kicking back. And I love the fact that you're saying fuck you to the world when they're coming at you. And
Yeah.
also, what I really love about this, Maddie, is you're actually showing your audience how to deal with the
Yes,
online bullshit and trolls.
absolutely.
That
So
seems like magic.
the thing for me, right, I have had so many ups and downs in business. In fact, the last 4 years have been such a roller coaster. Like I had a business failure. It was like horrendously dramatic. I got a stalker. I had people bullying me online. It was really horrible. And I have just shown up, been the authentic me, and done things my way, and just gone, do you know what? Fuck everybody else. Like I stay in my own lane. I'm always all about collaboration over competition. Like, if somebody does the same thing as me, fuck yeah, come into my membership. I'll support you. Like I am not somebody who lets other people get in my way. So I really wanted to do something good and turn a really crappy situation into something amazing. So there is a bit more story to these t-shirts. So the Sickfluencer ones, all of the profits are going to a chat. Well, they're a CIC called Sick, SIC, and they help disabled people into the workplace. With all of the other t-shirts, like the entire range, for every t-shirt that we sell, I let somebody new into my membership so that they can start their career and start their TikTok journey, become an entrepreneur. And that gives me the thing that helps me to give back to society a little bit, which is again one of my really heart-led centered passions.
I love that. And I love that not only have you turned a really shitty thing into a positive to help others, you're also now turning it into a charitable giving as well. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like double whammy, isn't it? Talk about fuck you. I'm definitely going to put you on your terms. You want to sit there and slag me off from your high pedestal and do whatever? Well,
I'm like,
actually, yeah, look at what I'm doing here. I'm actually converting this into something that's effectively helping more than just one person that's sitting there
yes.
having a little match, bitching match at me on keyboard warriors. So yeah, well done. I absolutely love that. So Maddie, you and I have got something else in common, and we're not just neurospicy, love the F word, more than one occasion. You know, we just seem to gel. But something that we've both done is become writers through our
Yes.
experience. And I published my book last year, and I self-published and went to best-selling #1 on Amazon within 48 hours of launching, which I thought was pretty impressive because I only launched it 2 weeks prior. But I only said I was doing it 2 weeks prior and set the date and just went through it. And yeah, we had quite a success from that. But you've taken a different approach, and actually you are launching your book and it's coming out
Yes.
soon.
I never thought that I would ever write a book. As an ADHD, autistic, dyslexic, dyscalculic, like honestly, I have every single neurodivergent condition under the sun, including mild Tourette's. I just don't really tell people about it because once you notice my tics, you don't unnotice them. So I just don't really talk about it. But I do a little bit in the book. And I think the weird thing was that I thought, oh, at some point maybe I'll write a book. And I did a course with a lady called Shah Wasamund, which was called The Published Expert. And that was the thing that was like, it planted the seed. I was like, do I want to do it? Do I? And I kind of walked away from that course thinking, like, this is great. I've got an idea in there. And the really good thing at the end of that course, they were like, we'll line you up to pitch to a publisher. So I was like, this is amazing. This is really cool. I'm going to go and pitch to Hay House. It's really cool. Before that even happened, there was a message in my inbox, and I put nothing online about this, by the way, at all. There was a message in my inbox on LinkedIn from a lady at Wiley saying, "Hey Maddie, we really like your stuff on TikTok and LinkedIn. Would you consider writing a book?" And I was like, "Oh, this has got to be a scam." Who's going to approach me to write a book? So anyway, I had a call with them, and it wasn't a scam. They genuinely wanted me to write a book for them. They said, "We want an ADHD money book, and we think you're the perfect person to do it." And I said, "Yeah, okay, but I've got my own views of what I want this book to look like. It can't be boring. It has to be Maddie, because everything I do in my Maddie way. So it can't be a boring money book. Like it needs to be something that's engaging. Like I kind of want it to be something that's going to help people to learn, but also something they can read on the beach and, enjoy as a story as well." And my story and my journey has been, like, as I said, massive roller coaster. There's so many lessons learned. So I decided that that was the way I was going to write it. They didn't like the amount of swear words that I used. At one point, we counted that there were 342 fucks in the book. And they came back to me and they were like, "Maddie, we can't have that many fucks in the book." I was like, "Okay, cool. How many fucks are we allowed?" And no fucks. I was like, we can't have no fucks. It's like my personal brand is all about swearing. That's not, but I do swear a lot and people know me for that. So we came up with a compromise where I changed every swear word in the book to a really silly word. And then at the back of the book, we have a fuck glossary. The first of its kind. So I'm quite excited about it coming out. It is very raw. I describe it to people as me running naked, not through a field of wheat, Theresa May style, but like, running naked through like a stadium of shitloads of people. It is very much raw. There are some things in there that I don't think I've ever talked about online before. So it is going to be a vulnerable move for me. But it hit number one on the Amazon Best New Releases chart last week, which
It did.
was insane.
That's
Um,
exciting.
it's not even out yet, so yeah. So I'm of the opinion if somebody asks me to do something, I'm like, yeah, I'm a yes person. Someone asks me to speak, I'll say yes. Someone asks me to do a thing in their membership, I'll say yes. Saying no doesn't get you anywhere unless it's a boundaries thing, because obviously you need to have boundaries as well.
I hear you. I hear you. And I mean, the publishers are doing really well with you, aren't they, at the moment? So they've had you at number one on Amazon pre-sales. Plus,
I think I did that
oh,
though.
you did that. Okay.
I'm going to go with I did that, like, because I mean, the one thing that I think is a common misconception that when you have a publisher, people think, oh, they do all the work for you. And that's not necessarily the case.
True.
You
Okay.
still have to do all your own PR, you still have to do all the selling. It's not just a case of like they'll get you wherever. I mean, yes, I found that I was on the Waterstones website yesterday, which I don't think I've ever fangirled myself before, but I was on a TikTok live and I was like, I'm on the Waterstones website. Really weird, but yeah, I think they have been very supportive.
Yeah.
I picked, like, after Wiley pitched to me and said they wanted me to write the book, I went away and I pitched to a few other publishers, because I thought, well, keep my options open, like open here, because sometimes you don't want to necessarily take the first bus that comes along.
No.
I did get a couple of other offers. I really wanted Penguin, just because of the name, but actually, I don't think that I would have got the same level of support if I'd have gone with Penguin. I've had the same points of contact all the way through. They've been amazing. They've helped me when we've gone through challenges. Like, somebody decided to trademark the name of my book. That was pretty challenging because I'd had the name, like the name was something completely different, and I'd had that name and I've been talking about it for a year. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden I couldn't talk about that name anymore. And I was like, this is not cool. Um, but I think actually everything's happened for a reason. Like, my app's called Mad About Money, the book's called Mad About Money, my TikTok's Mad About Money. I am mad about money. So I feel like it probably was the obvious choice for a book name throughout the whole thing. And I just didn't really think about it. So
Yeah,
it's,
but and
it's
I,
all aligned.
this is what gets me as well. Like the universe really knows sometimes just how to push us into the direction that we're supposed to be in.
Yes.
And it literally just pulls the rug from underneath you because in your mind, you're like, I'm so set on this, and this is what's going to happen, and that's what's going to happen. And then suddenly it just pulls the little rug from underneath you and goes, I don't think so. I was the same with my book, and I had a completely different name for it. And I started writing my book 2 years prior to me actually finishing
Mm,
it. And it was a different name. It was set, funnily enough, same picture on the cover, but it was a different name. It was a different kind of energy. And I literally decided to write the book from, I just want to simplify things for people and break it down in a different way.
yeah.
So, yes, you can bring spirituality into business. And actually, the more you do so, the more authentic you are, the more successful you will end up being because that's what people
Yes.
love. People don't want to see the traditional professional people,
No.
"Oh, I have to, this is how I have to behave as a professional person." Well, actually, I'm a professional person in no matter which way I do it, because actually I'm still serving a wider audience, I'm serving a community, I'm impacting
Yeah.
lives, I'm changing things. Just because I'm not doing it your way doesn't mean that I'm not professional. So
Professional is a state of mind.
yes,
So,
it's a
professional,
society driven cult actually.
yeah, professional is not how you show up because, I mean, I probably wouldn't walk into a massive corporate wearing this t-shirt, for example, because it's probably not particularly, aligned with them, and I do sometimes have to tailor my maddiness down a little bit. But I've got bright hair, I've got tattoos, I wear bright makeup, I wear bright jewelry, I say very colourful things. And I just feel that doesn't affect how professional I am.
Mm.
Being professional is not, is not swearing. It's not showing up not authentically. It's showing up as who you are. Professional is how you treat people, and I always lead with my values, and I always respect people, and I think that is professionalism.
Yeah, completely. So we went off on a tangent there.
Sorry.
No, it was me. I went off on the tangent and you've just filled in the gaps brilliantly. So thank you very much for doing that. Um, So, Maddie, tell me a little bit more about the book. What is it about the book that you feel is going to have the biggest impact? Because I know a lot of people with neurodivergencies, ADHD, but actually, from my line of work in the spiritual field, we also have the challenge of a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs believe that they shouldn't charge because it's a gift, so I should share that with the world. And it's like, well, a carpenter goes and trains, but they're gifted because they're able to do that. Not everybody can go to college and learn carpentry.
Yeah.
Some people were total disasters at that. So just because you have a gift doesn't mean you should constantly give things away. And this is where I feel heart-centered spiritual business owners, but also those in the neurodivergent field, they do often over deliver and over give.
I
So
mean, yeah, I am very much an over deliverer. I started a membership that was like £7 a month. It's now 10 because I felt like I could increase it a little bit because everybody liked it so much. But I know I undercharge, but at the same time, like, financial accessibility is one of my values. So I make sure that I'm paid for stuff and I make sure that my time is covered, but I also have to be quite careful about my boundaries because otherwise I do go crazy. In fact, I've just launched, and I'll come back to the book in a second because I know that was the original question and we don't want to go too far over. But I've actually just launched a brand new membership, which is like the next level up from my Invisible to Influential membership, which is basically a pick my brains type of membership where people have access to me on WhatsApp all the time. They have a monthly one-to-one, which is half an hour, just to keep them in check, keep them ready. We do group coaching. And that has helped me to, be able to field those can I pick your brains type questions, because I had so many of them. And it's just about keeping your boundaries, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I had this thing for so long, when I ran my last business, I had 4,500 partners, all small businesses, all businesses that I promoted for free, in exchange for them offering a discount on my app. And I learned so many things about my time, my boundaries, my health, my values, and all of the things that I have to lead with. And one of my values is also that my family and my health have to come first, which means that I do have to charge for the things that I do. It doesn't always have to be loads, but I do have to charge for my time, because otherwise I'm not around to help anybody.
Mm.
So it's a good way to look at it. But back to the book. The book is it's called Mad About Money. It is all about the relationship between money and neurodiversity, not just ADHD, but all of the neurodivergent conditions. Main focus on ADHD, because that is probably, ADHD and autism, because they are my most prevalent, most visible conditions, even though they're hidden and you can't see them from the outside. Um, it's all focused on my money journey and how money has shown up for me throughout my years. I was in debt to the tune of £40,000 the first time, 45,000 the second time. I have had multiple failed businesses. I have job hopped more than the job hoppiest person in the world. I have had so many relationships. I have dopamine, I've been dopamine hunting for my entire life. So it's not just tips on how to manage your money. It goes so much deeper than that. It's about all neurodivergent conditions. It's about love. It's about relationships. It's about family. It's about spirituality. It's about learning. It's about business, relationships, like all sorts of different things, friendships even. And basically the way that neurodiversity has affected my life. And I'm really excited about it. I am really genuinely excited, also terrified, because
Yeah.
when people have read my story, it is out there. I am blunt. I say it how it is. Um, Neurodiversity and neurodivergent conditions, if you have an opinion about something and it's a strong opinion, it's not always the right one. And I have had criticism in the past for being quite blasé about things. So I'm still worried that I've got it wrong, but I don't think I have. So fingers crossed.
I hear you though, honestly. So when it comes to sharing your story, I shared some things last year that I never thought in a million years I'd be able to stand in front of people and actually those words came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And I did it with confidence, I did it with conviction and no emotional attachment. If you
Mm,
10 years ago, that's who I'd be in that moment, I never would have believed you.
no.
Actually, me sharing those parts of my story is my, it's actually part of my recovery.
Yes.
It was part of my recovery and part of my acceptance of
Mm,
what I had been through because I'd lived so many years in denial. So, whilst I believe it's good to share the vulnerable, it's never about you sharing that vulnerability anyway. Yes,
yeah.
there is a part of you that goes on a journey with it. And I don't like using the word healing. That's not in my vibe anymore at all. I'll come back to that in a minute. So,
Mm,
when you're sharing that vulnerability, the one thing that I took away from last year when those words just fell out of my mouth and I literally shocked a whole room, they couldn't believe part of my experiences,
mm,
it actually inspired and encouraged the voices of others to speak up in a way that they have never spoken before. So if that small moment of me being vulnerable meant that I gave somebody else a voice to actually go on their own journey to start shifting away from being the hidden, suppressed, shut down person from their experiences and no longer having to hide in shame for what's happened to them, not
Yeah.
because of who they are, then actually this is an amazing experience. And I'm actually really excited about reading your book, Maddie, because I didn't realize that my whole family is neurodivergent. Totally. Myself,
Amazing.
others, we're all off the scale with all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
We've got autism, we've got ADHD, we've got global developmental delay, we've got dyspraxia, we've got dyslexia, we've got the whole flipping thing going on, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't fully acknowledge that properly until maybe the last 2 years, because we're reading more about it, becoming more aware of it, and things are starting to fit into place. And it's like, oh, so it's not really about me. It's not who I am as a problem. It's the way the brain is wired. And
Yeah.
before I came on a self-discovery journey, so to speak, I'd always blamed myself for things, but I'd also masked a lot of who I was because of trauma. So now that the trauma has been dealt with, I was then left with this, well, what is really wrong with me? And I started
Yeah.
crying and then finding. So I'm really looking forward to reading your book, and finding a little bit more out about the background and the story and things, because I think you've mentioned a lot about the failed businesses in the past, where you are now, what you're doing now, the impact, the change, and everything. But at the time when we're going through those challenges, it can really feel like we're the worst people on the planet. And,
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, like,
I mean, I mean, I've faced several challenges within business, and then, and in those moments, I've taken it personally and internalized it as a me problem, rather than actually I needed to go through that as part of my journey to get me to where I'm going. And I think that
I didn't want to
story,
be here.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I won't say too much about it because people won't buy the book, but I really didn't want to be on this planet.
yeah,
My business failure wasn't just, oh dear, the business has failed. I had like 260 odd investors. I had some really big investors who were, really, quite invested, not just financially, but like time wise as well. I got screwed over by an angel investor who basically, we called him Jesus, because he was Jesus, and then he was Father Christmas, because he basically made all of our wishes come true. He said he was going to invest like the biggest amount we'd ever had, but there was a deal, and I got really, really, really badly kind of coerced into doing this deal. And the deal basically was that he would invest in the money if we used his suppliers for all of the work. Um, Now, this is apparently quite a common con, and we didn't really realise it at the time. And this was the complete downfall of the business, was us saying yes to this deal. We used his suppliers; they were awful. They messed everything up. We created an app that didn't work. We had loads of unhappy customers. It was a really bad journey. And at the end of it, basically, this guy persuaded us to do a crowdfunding campaign. We managed to scrape everything together so that we could do this crowdfunding campaign. We didn't raise enough money. We had to raise 300,000 we were supposed to be raising, and we raised 86 in the end. We did get some extra investors, but still wasn't enough. We pushed, we pushed, we pushed. I ended up having a nervous breakdown. My health was horrendous. I ended up in hospital. Like, when it all came crashing down, it was the worst experience of my life. We got ghosted by this investor. He never gave us any money. And I found out last week that he has been bankrupted 5 times over. And I laughed. I was like, good, because he was the one person that, like, in this whole world, that if I ever saw him and I was driving my car, I do not know what would happen.
well, we won't say
um,
that. We won't go there. We won't go there.
no,
But
but but it was honestly, like, I've never actually hated anybody in my life, like, until that moment, because he literally ruined my business, he ruined my health. But looking back at it, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Like, I wouldn't be doing something that I love so much had that business not died. And actually, it was such a drain on my energy and my time, and I had my priorities wrong. I was working so many hours that I wasn't seeing the kids, and it was just not aligned with me. So, there are so many things that I took from that journey.
and that's something else. So just kind of coming back to the podcast for a minute. Something that I learned from my first business yes, it was wildly successful. I had an amazing reputation in the local area. Everybody kind of knew who I was. And it was just, I loved that business with my heart and my soul. But unfortunately, it did lead me to burning out as well.
Mm,
So that on top of being in an abusive relationship, trying to navigate three children,
yeah.
trying to manage the office, the staff, the business development, and everything else on my own, whilst basically entering into a state of nervous breakdown, burnout
Mm,
stage myself. The ending of that business made me realize that I can't do things just because the bigger picture is what society tells me I should create.
absolutely.
And actually, my success back then was very driven towards what you should do as a business owner. And I think that's why when I've come back into business again and moved forward, I've decided to do it slightly differently. So, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, if it's not in alignment with me, I can't do it because
Yeah.
it's not going to drive me forward. If it's a yes, like full body, fuck yes, I'm all in for this, I'm excited for this, then I'll go for it.
Yeah.
But just something I wanted to touch base on really quickly, and it is actually something that I do share in my book, and it's about understanding the resistance with alignment. So, Maddie, we are neurodivergent, we understand this. I also come from a spiritual aspect of things. And when I look at the different elements of ADHD, so to speak, with demand avoidance,
Mm,
procrastination, I also then have to look at the energy of resistance and where that's coming from, because you can be so aligned in something and still not do the thing that you want to do. And this is,
oh God, yeah, like horrendously. And I've had this recently actually. So, Visible Fest is something that I launched last year, which is basically because I really struggle in person events. I wanted there to be something online that was inclusive, that was fun, that was a business thing, that people could come to, whoever they were, whatever their background. You spoke at it, amazing. It was a really, really great day. I'm supposed to be promoting it now, but for some reason I'm not. I've got a resistance to it, and I'm like, because it made me burn out so badly last time, and I'm like, but I'm still doing it. I am still going to do it. Just before we move on, though, like, and I know you've got more to say on that. I just need to go back to the word should.
yeah, absolutely.
Should is a fuck it bucket word.
It is
Um,
totally, yeah,
Everybody needs to chuck the word should in the
in
fuck
the
it bucket.
bin.
Totally
Absolutely,
needs to go. It is the single most damaging word that I think entrepreneurs can have in their vocabulary,
totally.
because it is like, if you feel like you should do something, you're not going to want to do it, especially if you've got ADHD. So that is why that is going straight into the fuck it bucket. It's like room
You
101,
know,
actually. I might have my own program.
yeah, there was something that I actually discovered with this, because obviously a lot of my work is more about the feeling. So how can I shift the energy and the feeling
Mm,
from should? Because if I say should, that means it's a demand. And through my traumatic experiences, demand anything of me and it's going to be a fuck no.
yeah,
However, if you ask me or if you give me a choice, but actually more importantly, if I shift it and say how grateful I am to have this opportunity to do something,
yeah.
in that moment, it makes it really lighter. So one of my nemesis
Oh,
has been washing, right?
mm,
Getting the washing put away ever since my children were little has been my nemesis. And one of the things that I've kind of learned to do is say, well, actually, do you know, I might be resisting putting the washing away. However, I'm really grateful that I get to put the washing away because there's a lot of people in the world that don't actually have that luxury.
yeah. You have literally just hit the nail on the head with something that I had this morning. So one of my clients, like, I have this thing, and most people in my world know that I have this thing where I don't like emails. Like, I hate emails beyond anything. Like, I don't mind my email marketing now because I make it slightly more fun and I give everything song names and it's like a little bit more interesting, but I hate emails. And one of my clients, like, basically, I have this thing with my clients. I've got like 45 one-to-one clients. Like, it's a lot. Like, I struggle sometimes. But every single time we're on a call, we always book the next session on the call. Okay. So I would say to you, Vicky, when are you free next? Let's put it in the diary. And then we both put it in our diaries. We body double each other. We know it's in the diary. We know it's sorted. This one client is like, can you email me the details? And I'm like, sure. And then as soon as I get off the call, I forget. And then he has a go at me. And then like this morning, I checked in with him. I was like, oh, are we still on for our call tonight? He was like, well, you didn't send me an email. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't do emails. Like, and this is one of my boundaries things. But actually, really, what I should be doing is being like, I'm grateful that he's my client. I'm really grateful that I get to work with him because he is an absolute legend. Like, but every time he asks me to send him an email, I'm like, oh, I can feel my blood boiling, and I'm like, I don't want to send an email.
So voice note your assistant and get them to send the email.
Yeah, Steph's poorly this week. So
Oh,
yeah, so I like
isn't
so
it
actually
wonderful to just
yeah,
be able to switch it instead of it being oh, I should go and do the dishes. Oh, I should walk the dog. Oh, I
yeah.
should go and do that. Oh, I should take the kids out. Oh, I should be reading that book. Oh, I should be putting my makeup on. Oh, I should have had a shower already. And actually go, I'm
Mm,
just, if we could shift the energy of should into I'm grateful for the opportunity,
yes.
just shifts the mindset. It
It
shifts the
does.
mood, so to speak. So that was something that I learned on my journey, and hope that
I
it's
mean
a
that
learning thing, though, isn't it?
that really makes sense. And I sometimes it's those things where you feel like you're being a little bit petty, but it's like I set boundaries for a reason. And then when someone tries to push those boundaries, I feel my guard going up and I'm like, but actually I shouldn't because they're my client and I should be going more like, I should stupid should. I said
Yeah,
the
I
should
know,
word.
right?
But this is the thing, and I think it's like, well, do you know what? Sometimes you have to agree to disagree on things. Like it's a way that he likes doing it things one way, I like doing things the other way.
And sometimes
Um,
you have to compromise, and that's that.
yes. I mean, in my mind, my compromise was like, fine, I just won't work with him anymore. But I actually really do like working with him. Definitely not the way to do it.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But don't you just love those dream clients when they come through and it's just, you just get on so goddamn well. Everything's
Yeah,
so easy and smooth and fun and engaging and the ideas flow. And yeah, I just love those beautiful, dreamy clients that step forward. Okay, so Maddie, we have covered a lot in today's
we
podcast and
have.
you
We
can
have.
actually talk forever. So I'm just going to do a little recap a little bit here, okay? First of all, I am in Maddie's membership, and the reason that I joined Maddie's membership was one, to give me a bit of a kick up the arse, but also because I love her community. I love what she's built. I love where she is. I don't engage as much as I could do. Notice my language shift there. However,
Very much.
I am very much hoping to get a little bit more involved. So if you are listening or watching us, hi, make sure you are go and check out Maddie. If you haven't joined the membership, do, especially if you're a business owner and you want to increase your visibility, this is a place to do it. The support that Maddie gives you is absolutely tenfold. If you haven't got on the waiting list or bought the book for Maddie yet, it's Mad About Money and it's on Amazon. Go and check it
And
out.
Waterstones.
And Waterstones, yes. And more importantly, go and follow her on TikTok because if nothing else, you will definitely have a good laugh and see her true authenticity with the fuck bombs. Right.
Yes.
So, Maddie, thank you so much for joining me today. We
Thank you
have
for having me.
covered so much in terms of authenticity, alignment, being true to who you are. And I'm just so grateful that you have joined me for this session today. And yes, any final words before we wrap this up?
Um, I don't think so. But actually, no, I am going to give you some final words. Just be yourself and fuck everybody. And if you think you're not ready to talk about something, try and work out why you're not ready to talk about something. Um, is it a scar or is it a wound? If it's a wound, just sit on it for a while, let it heal for a bit. Or like just scab over a bit. It doesn't have to be fully healed before you start talking about it, but just if something doesn't feel quite right, and just again, just because I'm telling you that visibility has helped me doesn't mean that you should be the person that's getting visible. Visibility doesn't work for everybody, but you have to try if you are a business owner who wants to succeed in the business world. Visibility is the thing that opens up opportunities. It gets you book deals, it gets you speaking gigs, it gets you, into other people's worlds.
It is a number one income generating activity. And if you're not
It
getting
is
visible, you are not doing business. So
absolutely that.
one of the so this was something that I was thinking about the other day, actually. And it was, not everybody is good at doing specific lead gen because they have different ways of just doing life, right? So not everyone is going to want to do outreach. Not everyone is going to want to send a letter to a company in the post to try and get their attention. Not everybody is going to want to put their face on to social media. And now there's so many lovely opportunities to do it. So there's no freaking excuse, is there, Maddie? Like,
No,
literally no excuses.
I can't remember the last time that I had to do a sales call.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. Because every single person that comes into my world that buys from me as a client comes into my membership, because that is my lead magnet. And it's a paid lead magnet, and it does really well for me. And I think, I'm actually going to be focusing on the next couple of months on helping people to grow and scale memberships, because I've realized that I'm actually bloody good at it. Never thought I was.
You've gone from what to over 300 members in what time?
Yeah, so I launched the membership. I launched the waiting list in April last year. I actually launched it in May. And then we are now in February, coming into March, April time. So in less than a year, I've got 335 people in my membership. All paying. When I say all paying, I've got 335 members in my membership. About 30 odd of those are people that I've given free spaces to off the back of like the t-shirts, and also anytime I ever go on GB News, I give away some spots to my my membership as well, because I don't like the idea of being paid to go on that news channel, so I have to do something good with it.
Oh, bless you. I love this. So that's it. Thank you so much, Maddie. Go and grab Maddie's book. Go and get into her TikTok. Go and check her out. And more importantly, go join the membership and be part of a community that really does lift you up, inspire you, and where you can be exactly who you are. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Vicky.
That's a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. All these episodes are created in line with my book, Radically Aligned. Go check it out on Amazon, grab a copy, and let's get you started. At the back of the book, they'll also find a QR code where you'll get access to some amazing resources. You don't want to miss it. See you in the next episode.